one of the animal that is called as the hydra. Okay. So what type of the nervous system found in the hydra? Okay. So it is found in the water, of course, aquatic animals. So in hydra, there is also the nervous coordination. So nervous coordination is also done in the hydra with the two main parts. So that is the tentacles and the nerve net. Nerve net means it's a network of the nerve cells. We can see here. Okay, so there is a network of the nerve cells. And another one part is the tentacles. This is called as the tentacles. Okay, so many tentacles are there. So they can be perform the function of the coordination in the hydra. Okay, so in hydra, the nervous system is diffuse within the body, and the Endarians are thus the first animal group showing the simple nervous system. So this shows, hydra shows a very simple nervous system. It consists of the sensory cells and nerve cells or neurons, along with their fibers. Fibers also there within that connecting the nerve cells. The nerve cells are scattered, so they can be scattered forms. Okay, so this can be scattered, and scattered. It forms a network. Okay. The nerve cells are scattered and distributed throughout the body, the whole body. They may be distributed, and the body and inner connected to each other by the synapses between the fibers. Okay, so fibers, they can form the nerve nets. These are the fibers connecting the fibers to each other. So it become made a particular network type. Okay, so this is the network type structures. Then the nerve cells are especially functions to connect the tentacles. Okay, so tentacles parts also connected with this network of the nerve cells. Then the synapses between their fibers to form the nerve net. There are two nerve nets both in the mesogyla. Okay, so mesogyla are the forms within the two portions. This is the one portion, is the second portion. So there will be a connecting the two types of the nerve cells with each others. Okay. Then the epidermis and second towards the gastrodermis, there are sensory cells scattered in the body wall and tentacles. So there is a outermost parts. Okay, you can see here the outermost parts will be having the special types of the cells. There is the nerve cells. Okay, so they can carry the stimuli, means outside outer wall. Okay, and within that inner wall there will be also scattering of the same cells, nerve cells. Okay, so they can be easily transferred the stimuli. Then the neurons have fibers, but there are no sensory and motor nerves. Neurons have the fibers, but mainly it is not connected with the sensory and motor nerves. Okay, the nerve impulses shows no polarity of the direction. Thus, in hydra, the activation of sensory can be happen at any point, and from this point, impulse can be carried throughout the body in any direction. So there is a motor neuron is totally absent. So each and every cell, it will be carry the sensory. Means if there is a disturbance, it can be sensed effectively by the hydra and it shows the movements. Okay, so that's why it is easily transmit the stimuli within the whole body of this hydra. The diffuse types of nervous system is the first important landmark in the nervous system. So the hydra found the diffuse type of the nervous system, means it get diffuse. So sensory, it will be get diffuse. Then it is seen in the entomophora as well as in the enteric system or gut wall of the higher animals, including the mans. Okay, so including mans also shows same type, but in man there are the motor neurons also there. They can be carry the number of the organs. Okay, so organs, they may be connected with the motor neurons and it will be perform the function. But in hydra, there is a simple type of the systems. Each and every cell has a sense and it will be transport in the whole body of the hydra. Okay, so this is the mechanism of nervous coordination in the Hydra. It's a simple body with the tentacles and the nerve net. Okay. Next, we have the another example, that is the nervous coordinations, planaria. So planaria is a flatworms found in the water also and in the body of the organisms also. Okay, so it will be a flatworms. So flatworm means the body is a flat. According to the structure of the body, it will be classified as a flatworm. Gave the name flatworms. Okay. So planaria is a flatworm, belongs to the phylum Platyhelminthes. Platyhelminthes means a group of organism which shows the plate-like structures, means a flat. Okay, so that is called as the Platyhelminthes. It is the most primitive animal with a central nervous system. It means that the flatworm shows CNS type of the nervous systems. Okay, means central nervous system. So centrally there is a location of the nerves transverse. So nerves are there. It will be get arranged one by one. Okay, so that may be the nerves transverse. Okay, it consists of the mass of the cerebral or cephalic ganglion appearing like an inverted U-shaped structure. So there is a nerve cords will be there, both the sides appears, and there is a arranging one by one. Okay, so total starting from the from head up to the tail region, there is a spreading of the transverse nerves arranged one above the others, and all the connected with the nerve cord. So this is the nerve cord, dark portions, the nerve cord, and nerve cord between there is a presence of the nerves transverse. Okay. The vertically of the below ganglia arises a pair of ventral nerve cords, that is the VNC. This is the nerve cords, ventral nerve cords, present ventral sides, and the long nerve cords also. These are interconnected to each other by the transverse nerves or commissive in a ladder-like manner. So they can be arranged in the type of the ladder, pyres are given. Okay, so that means the ladders will be forms one by one. So this will be the structure showing just like the ladder types, connecting the transverse cells to the nerves cord. Both the nerve cords will be connected. The peripheral nerve plexus arising laterally from the VNS. So this is the brain, this is the nerve cords. On the other side, the peripheral nerve, it will be plexus arising lateral side of the VNS, means ventral nervous system. Okay, the PNS includes the sensory cells. Okay, so what type of the cells are here? The sensory cells are here also. Okay, so the sensory cells act as the function of to absorb the sense from the outside. Okay, so absorb the sense from the outside and then directly connected to the nerve cord. So nerve cords, it will be again transported towards the transverse nerves and it will be get recognized by the planaria. So that's why there is a complete mechanism of the nervous coordinations. The scattered cells also in the body, they can be having the particular function, the sensory cells having the particular function to transport the sense, stimuli sense. Okay. In above example, the HYDRA planaria and the earlier studied example, there is the cockroach also. When we study the cockroach nervous systems, there is also some various types of the ganglions. Ganglions are present, number of the ganglions. There is a high level of the specializations in the formulation of the nervous system. A high specialized develop the nervous system in the earthworms also. Okay, so if you have example, we already studied in the 11th science. Okay, the entirely gradually form the diffuse neural system to centralize the nervous system. So centralized nervous system location is there, and the expansion into the properly organized systems involve the brains. So up to the brains it will be get connected and properly involves. It will be carry nerve cords and the nerve cells also there and brains connected with each others. Okay, they can be having a particular mechanism. Here there is the eye spot is there. So eye spots also get connected with the nervous systems. Okay, then the system has led to centralization of the various sense organs, assessing in the coordinating the internal environment with that of the external environment. It means that the internal environment and the external environment also coordinated by the planaria body. So whatever may be the internal environment is there, it will be get stimulated. Means transverse nerves, it will be absorbed the stimuli, it can get transport towards the brains also, towards the eyes also. From the eye stimuli, it will be get by the brains. So there is a internally and externally also stimuli coordinated within the body of planaria. Okay. So there is a complex mechanism of the coordinations, and there is a great evolutions also done from the planaria. So from the planaria, there is a great evolution up to the cockroach, then earthworms, then human body also. So complexity increases within the organs with the help of a great evolution. So evolution done various changes in the nervous system. Also it will be get converted into the complexity. Okay. So there is a effectively the transports of the signals between one part of the organs of the other body parts of the in the planaria. So they can be get a perfect mechanism of the nervous coordination in the planaria. So we have the two examples, the HYDRA and the planaria examples for study the nervous coordination. So simple type of the nervous coordination done with the two animals. Then the neural tissue. So what are the neural tissue? So in the first part we also have the reference about the types of the cells. Okay. So epididymal cells also there, they can be have the function in the nervous systems. Then oligolentricytes also cells, they also carry the same functions. Then some satellite cells also, they can be act as a satellite. It means they receive the stimuli. Then another cell is astrocytes also there, they can be connected to each and every cells. Then mesogils also there, and last one is the Sezon cells. The Sezon cells also can have a particular function in the nervous systems. So in the neural tissue are basic. Okay, so neural tissue are the basic. They can be developed only for the transport of the stimuli. Okay, so what contains the neural tissues? The neural tissue contains the nerve cells. Okay, nerve fibers. So nerve cells and the nerve fibers get together to form the neural tissue. The neural tissues consist primarily of the two types of the cells, via the neurons and the neuroglia. Okay, so neuroglia and the glial cells, it will be developed the neural tissues, while a nerve is bundle of the axon. So there may be a structure of the axons, a single cell. It will be connected to each other to form a long threads. Okay, so there may be a ganglion, a particular one ganglion is there. Then there is a formation of ganglions with the axons outside the CNS, central nervous system, outside the central nervous system. And the CNS for the same word, tract. They use the word tract. It means capsules. Okay, so tract means theirs. It will be get tract, and it is used, the nerves may be sensory or motor or mixed type, that is having both the type sensory and the motor fibers. So sensory cells and the motor fibers, they can be act in the nervous coordination. They can be having the sensory, but it get in the form of the mixed form. Okay, so they will be get mixed, but after that it will be recognized what type of the sense is there, and on the basis of that it will be classified within the body and then transport toward the brain. Okay, all these along with the nerves organs make up the nervous systems of the higher animals and bring about the coordination and control of the various activities of the body. So in this way there is a mechanism of the nervous coordinations done in the animals. This is done through the receptors who receive the sense. Okay, it will be having the particular function to receive the sense. So that is called as the receptors. In sensory input towards the central nervous system, it will be processed in the carried out in the CNS, it means central nervous system, and then through the motor commands. So motor neurons get a very important functions in the nervous coordinations. In response to that, what happened? In response to that, the motor neurons get response is sent out. So after that stimuli, immediately it will be get response, and response send out means outside of the body, and then it will be recognized by the animals. The nerves arising from the cytons of the CNS travel throughout the body, transmitting the nerve impulses or inform to the motor neurons. Okay, so the motor neurons again recognized in the central nervous system. So CNS centrally and PNS peripheral regions. So peripheral part, peripheral organ, peripheral regions connected with the nerve fibers, but the CNS directly connected with the motor neurons. It will be carry the function to coordinate with the central organs. So that is the main system. Okay, CNS. So this will be the particular nervous coordinations done in the animal with the help of the neural tissue. So neural tissues play a very important role in the coordinations in the human being as well as in another animals also. Then we have a chart. This chart shows the types of the neurological cells and their functions. Means each and every cell it carry the important functions. Okay. So particularly in the central nervous system. Okay. So in the central nervous system, there is a cell types as the oligodendrocytes. The cell are a group of the oligodendrocyte cells. They can be having the particular functions to form the mycelium sheath around the central axons. So they carry the important function to form the mycelial sheath. A mucilaginous sheath forms around to the central axons, which form the white matter of CNS. So CNS, in the CNS, the white matter is formed because of the oligodendrocyte cells. Okay, this is clear. Then the mycelium and insulating sheath is made up of the protein and fatty substances. So proteins and fatty substances, they become made a sheath, insulating sheath, means there is a covering. It allows quick transmission of the electrical impulses. So they helps in the formation, the transport of the electrical impulses, means whatever may be the electrical impulses are there, they develop and they will be immediately transmit towards the brains. Okay. Then number second is the microglia, or it is also called as the brain macrophages. These special types of the cells also small in size and with a very few branches also there. There are the rare forms, the monocytes act as a monocorophages. Okay, so they will be having the single forms, and when they groups, they can be get together the function of the two site of the injuries. Okay, means after mechanical injury is there, after the sense is there, some temperature is there, some coldness is there. So they can be having the particular function to dead neurons and cell debris. So dead neurons means completely destroyed neurons. Okay, after the mechanical injury, and cell debris means there is a remains of the dead cells. So we call it as the cell debris in the CNS. They mediate immune response in the CNS. Okay, so they can be continued, but after the damage of the cells, it will be get reappear. Okay, it will be get repaired with the same itself. Okay, the blood-brain's barrier, that is the BBB, blood-brain barriers. Okay, regulate the transmission of the electrical impulses with the brains. Okay. Next cell is the epididymal cells. If forms of the cells are the squamous or columnar, often cilia are also there. There is also presence of the cilia. Then epithelial cells, it means the location is the outermost layer. Okay, so that is the epithelial cells. Lining in the ventricles of the brain cavities and central canal of spinal cords. So there is also the location in the central canals. Okay. They are mainly responsible for the production and probably also for the circulation of CSF in brain and ventricles and central canals. So they can be having the particular functions. And last one is the PNS, means peripheral nervous systems. Okay. In peripheral nervous system, there are the two types of the cells involved. Number one is the schizoid cells, and number second one is the satellite cells. Schizoid and satellites. So schizoid cells, these are the most abundant glial cells of PNS, peripheral nervous system. they produce mycelium sheath. So who produces the mycelium sheath? The Schwann cells produces the mycelium sheath around medullated nerves of the PNS. Okay. Then another type of the cell is the satellite cells. So satellite cells also have a particular function. It supports the functions of the neurons. Okay, so directly connected with the neuron and get stimuli from the another part and transport toward the neuron. Okay, that is the particular cell perform the various functions. We can say the particular functions in the nervous coordinations. Okay. Next is the synapses. Okay. So synapses, it will mean the transport of the stimuli one by one cell. So all the nerve cells will be get synapse, means overlaps. Okay, so overlapping the nerve cells, they will be connected with the nerve fibers also, and they get a very particular mechanism in the transport of stimuli. So we can see here, it is the junction between the two nerve cells. It means the synapses is nothing but it's a junction between the two cells, and it will be formed in the minute gap. There is a gap between the two cells, which allows the transmission of the impulse by the neurotransmitter bridge. There is actually formation of the neurotransmitter bridge, and with the help of that bridge, there is a formation of the synapses and particularly nervous coordination done. So what are the properties of the nerve fibers? So nerve fibers having a particular properties. Number one, excitability, means there is called as the irritability. Irritability means again and again. Okay, so they may be exist again and again. So nerve fibers cannot be complete. Okay, so they will be newly formed and shows again and again. Okay. Number second is the conductivity. It is the ability to transmit the excitations. Okay, conductivity having also the property of the nerve fibers. Ability to transmit the excitation means whatever may be the sense is there, it will be get transmitted immediately. Number third property is the stimulus, means the nerve fiber gets stimulated. It is any detectable, whatever may be the physical is there, internal is there, chemical is there, electrical charges is there. So they can be whatever may be the changes there in the external and internal environment, means outside and within the body. The nerve impulses get recognized, and in order to effective the stimulus must have the minimum intensity, that is called as threshold stimulus. Okay, threshold stimulus means whatever may be the stimuli adapted by the nerve fibers, it will be get transmitted. Okay, and it will be subliminals. Okay, subliminal weak stimulus will have no effect, while the supraminal, that is the strongest stimulus, will be produced in the same degree of impulse as threshold and must. Mic कोणाचं चालू वाटतं ना? Mic. Next is the number E, all or none blow. Okay, so it means that all the cells, they can be get performing the function in the nervous coordination, but some nerve cells will either conduct the impulse along its entire length or will not be all conduct the impulse. Okay, some cells are there, they can be conducted, some cells are, they cannot be conducted, but as in case of subliminal or weak stimulus, yes. Okay, so they can be having the function of the stimulus. Then refractory periods. So what is meant by the refractory periods? It is the time interval during which a nerve fails to respond to a second stimulus, however strong it is. So after the strongest cell, but sometime what happens, there is a failure of two response. Sometimes this is happens in the organism. Sometimes it will be cannot be having the response, and that's why there is a refractory period will be there. Okay, so unconscious conditions. So that will be the developed in the particular organ. So that's why it get failure to respond to the stimuli. Then synaptic delay. So what is meant by the synaptic delay? Synaptic delay is the impulse requires about 0.3 to 0.5 million seconds. So it's a very short period in seconds, and to cross a synapse, this time is required for release the neurotransmitter from the axon terminal and excitation in the dendrons in the next neuron So there will be the gap between the transport of stimuli within the two neurons. Okay, so there is small gap, or there is called as a small delay. It's a late. Okay. Then synaptic fatigue. It will be transmission of the impulse across the synapse halls in a small pause temporarily due to exhaustion of its neurotransmitter. Okay. So there will be the formation of a small synaptic fatigue is also having the exhaustions, means before the delivery of the same stimuli. Then last one is the velocity. The rate of the transmission of impulse is higher in long and thick nerves. Okay. When the cell shows the transmission of the impulse is higher in the long and thick nerves, it is higher in the hemothermus, okay, than the poikilotherms. Okay. So within the body, so hemols and poikilos are the importance in the recognize the velocity. Okay. So that will be the concentration of the velocity. Okay. And this similarly is the faster in the medullated, means the medulla region, it will be get faster, it will be the slow. Depending on the performance in the nervous coordination, it will be recognized the particular velocity. Okay, it will be calculated 100 to 120 mil per second. Okay, so it will be get the minute per second in the mans. So this is the value in the voluntary fibers. Okay, 100 to 120 minutes per second. Okay, next is the presynaptic neurons. So this is the structure shows the presynaptic neurons is there, the nerve impulse is there, so they can be get transported the nerve impulse in the ions, there is the calcium ions also there, then voltage getted from the outsides. Okay, so there is actually transmission of the synapse. This is the synaptic left, the neurotransmitter receptors are there in the outermost
काय करत नाही मी रोज देतो बरं का तो प्रमाण चालू कसं उलट झालं माझ्या डोक्यात ना.
Okay. Then there is a synaptic end bulb is located in the epidermal layers. Then there is a neurotransmitter is along with the outermost layer. So sodium ions and potassium ions, they will be get lie to the epidermal regions. Okay. So then postsynaptic potential, it will be get from the outside and it will be transported in the inner side. So it may be having the cytoplasm. Within the cavity of the cytoplasm, it will be get enters, and then there is a exchange of the anions. Okay, the exchange, and there is a stimuli towards the nerve impulse. So both the way they will be get incoming and then outgoing. Okay, so that is the particular function done in the synaptic transmissions. Okay. Here the electrical synapses also done. Next one is the electrical synapses. It is classified under the various types of the synapses. So number one is the electrical synapses. In this type of the synapses, there is a gap between the neighboring neurons is the very narrow. So gap is a very narrow, and that's why what happened, the synapse between such close neurons is a mechanical. So they can be having the function of in the mechanical. Okay, the electrical conduction link is formed between the pre and post synaptic neurons. The formation of the electric link is between the pre and post. Pre means previously and post means after. Okay. At the gap junction, the two cells are within the almost 3.8 nm distance of each other. And of course, there is a transmission across the gap is faster, but it is totally depends on the connections which will be located at the gap junction between the two neurons. So the distance is very important. The electrical synapses are found in those places of the body requiring fastest responses, as in the defense reflexes. Okay, so what may be the responses will be get, it will be get defense, and they will be get reflected. Okay. Also they are bidirectional, means having the both the directions, I mean two directions we can say. Bidirectional along transmission in either directions or maybe unidirectionally. Okay, so one direction should be there, means nerve impulse should be goes towards the one neuron, another neurons. Okay, so the neurons are also get connected with the nerve fibers. So there is a spreading of the nerve impulse throughout the body, but in the form of the bidirectional and unidirectionals. Okay, so depending on the nature of the organism, this is the classified under the called as the electrical synapses. Next one is the chemical synapses. What do you mean by the chemical synapses? So that chemical synapses done, and it will be get a specialized junctions through the cells, which cell having the neural systems. Okay, the chemical synapses found only cell have the neural system, and it will be send chemical signal to other neurons and to non-neural cells. So sometime what happen, there is not connecting the each nerve, so that will be the transmission of the nerve impulse through nerve cell to nerve cell directly, but chemically, so there is a chemical compounds are there, they can be carry, means actually the chemical carry the signals, okay, in the neurons, between the two neurons. The non-neural cells and neuron cells, there is a combination, means neurons and non-neural cells, so they will be carry the signals with the help of chemicals such as the glands and the muscles. Okay, so glands are there, a special type of the cells which secrete some substances, we call as the glands, and the muscles are there. So between these two, there is the glands and muscle, there is a chemical synapses done. Synaptic gap is larger than that in the electrical synapse, and it is near about 20 to 40 nms. Okay, there is a concentration of the gaps. Once the impulse has been transferred across the synapse, the enzyme like, okay, so what may be the transportation of the impulse in across the synapses, a particular enzyme play an important role, that is called as the cholinesterase. Cholinesterase means EASE. So on the basis of this cholinesterase, on the basis of ASE, we can call as the name of the enzyme. So that enzyme perform the particular function, destroy the neurotransmitter, and the synapse is ready to receive a new impulse. Okay, so one impulse will be adopted, then it will be transported, again ready for the second impulse to receive. So that will be the chemical synapses. Okay, and last is the 3 minutes. So there is the transmission of the nerve impulse. How the transmission of the nerve impulse will be done? So we can see here, the nerve cells are with the some specialized features. They have the excitations. Okay, so they can be always have excitation, means they excited when the stimuli is there and when they transmit the stimuli towards the brains. So there is a particular mechanism, the wave lengths also form, the bioelectrical charges also done, and there is a complete electrochemical disturbances passing along the neurons. The transmission of the nerve impulses along the nerve cells, and with the help of the long fibers also there, and they will be get the result of the electrical charges across the neural membranes. So within the there is the axons, and outside the axon there will be a particular mechanism done. Okay, and the plasma membranes also get very important role in the formation of the chemical compounds, and having the approximately the same total number of the ions, and external tissue fluids has both sodium ions. Okay, so we can see here there is a complete mechanism of the transmission of the nerve impulse. Actually, outside of the cells and inside of the cells, there are the two ways to transmit. So we can see here there is a transmission of the nerve impulse from the dendrites through the axons. Okay, so after that what happened, after receiving the stimuli through the axons, then outside and inside there is actually exchange of the ions, and that's why the electrical charges are done. Okay, so the outside electrical charges are the positive. Okay, so there are the potassium ions having the positive charge. They can be have outside, means epidermal. So actually they are the outside of the cell, and they try to enter in the cell. So enter in the cell, the potassium ions and the sodium ions get outside the cells. Okay, so they again combines, and they show the positive and negative charge. Okay, So positive and negative. This is the charging in the ions, and they also restrict the membrane's potential. Okay, so membrane's potential may be increased, and there are the two types of the channels: potassium channels and sodium channels also inside the cell. So this is the environment within the inside the cells. Okay, then sodium ions get incoming from the outside cell to the inside cells. Okay, inside cells. That's why it will be having the particular combination of the ions. Okay, so the combination of the ions will be done in the cell. Okay, then what happened? Then sodium ions get enter from outside to the inside of the cell. Then same charges also get combines. Means sodium combines with the same charges, and it will be exchanged positive into the negative charges.